I'm super excited to be here today to be able to share our story, and I'm really appreciative to John and Nico for inviting us. I think that June 26, 2023 will go down in history as the biggest opening that we've ever had at Five Guys. So I want to thank Hanwha, who are here today, who are our partners here, and thank the Korean people because I was part of that opening and it was absolutely amazing. I wanted to share a little bit about who I am before I get started. I'm originally from Oklahoma. My parents actually have a cattle ranch there. We raise black Angus cattle, which is a good start if you're in the hamburger business. One of the things that if you come from Oklahoma as a young guy, you're usually trying to find a way to get out. And my journey took me quite a long ways. I started at Ogilvy and Mather in Vienna, Austria, in the advertising business. I then went with Ogilvy to London. I was then recruited to go to the Netherlands, where I live now, and I was part of the Heineken global brand team. At Heineken, I had a lot of really great opportunities to do ads with people like Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, John Cleese, which was very exciting. I then went on and worked in the ketchup business. I was actually part of the European communications team for Heinz Ketchup. I was really happy to see that it was brought up yesterday. I've been in many different discussions about our copyright. And then now I've landed at Five Guys. So if you have followed that trajectory, I was part of beer, and then ketchup, and now burgers and fries. So my superiors consider me a full meal deal. Without further ado, what I'd like to do is to share the story about Five Guys. The picture that you see behind me is actually our very first store in Asia. It's in Wan Chai, in Johnston Road in Hong Kong, a store that's very close to my heart. I thought it was going to be the biggest opening that I had ever been a part of, but Gangnam beat it by a long shot. Basically, what I want to talk to you today about is the fact that we don't actually do traditional advertising. My very first day at Five Guys was in January of 2018. I attended a conference, and it was in Washington, D.C., and my boss came up to me. She put her arm around me, and she said, "Joel, I forgot to mention one thing when we were recruiting you," and I was recruited as the marketing director for Five Guys International. She said, "We don't do marketing." And I looked at her, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. Fast forward to the next day, the next morning at breakfast, I went up and introduced myself to our founder and owner, who was Jerry Morrell, and he was mildly interested in my story. He put his arm around me and he said, "Son," he said, "the one thing that I want you to always remember is to have fun. Because if you're not having fun, you're not going to be successful." And he turned around and walked away. So I figured I was going to be able to figure something out, and basically my presentation is about that journey and also trying to convince you to be a marketer for us. We'll get started then. There are basically two things that we're really concerned about at Five Guys, and two things only. The first is the quality of our food. We do everything we can to make sure that we have the best ingredients that are sourced to allow you to create your perfect burger. The other thing that we're really interested in is the energy of our crew and the motivation and the training that they get in order to serve that perfect burger. We're going to talk more about that as we go along. We don't do any advertising, no paid advertising at least. We don't do any meal deals. We don't do any discounts. We feel that that would somehow denigrate the value of the food and be the wrong message to you if we were discounting it in any way. That doesn't make me very popular with the agencies that I work with in about 20 countries now, and also not with the delivery service providers, but we feel it's really part of who and what we are. Everything is about word of mouth. So we want you to come in and to have the best experience that you possibly can, and we want you to go away and talk about it to your family and friends. I'd like to take a step back, though, and talk about family. Family is really important at Five Guys, and it starts with the Morrell family. This is the mother and father, Janie and Jerry Morrell. They were the ones that started the company, and the legend goes that back in 1986, Jerry had 3 sons by a previous wife. Jerry and Janie were raising those boys, and they put some money aside. They were going to put them through college, and they said to the boys, they said, "Would you like to go to college, or would you like to start a business together?" Grandma Morel said, if you can cut hair or if you can make a good burger, you'll never go hungry in America. So they chose the burger route, and basically the rest is history. They started the company. This is a picture of the additional boys. As luck would have it, they had 2 more sons. And so the 5 guys today are actually the 5 sons that you see pictured here with father. They are all very much involved in our business to this day. We had a board meeting yesterday in Amsterdam, and several of them were there. And they're really kind of the guiding light behind our brand and how we grow. The picture that you see, the older black and white picture, is our second store, which was in Arlington, Virginia. This is the calendar, sort of some key dates that I wanted to pull out for you. We started in 1986 in Arlington, Virginia. Our headquarters, global headquarters, is now in Alexandria, Virginia. In 2013, we had the first location actually outside of North America because we had opened up in Canada before that. That was in London. We signed a joint venture agreement with the founder of Carphone Warehouse. And to this day, we have a joint venture agreement with a company that actually manages the UK, Spain, France, and Germany. And then my division, which is Five Guys International, does everything outside of that in Europe, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. 2018 was our first store, as I mentioned, in Hong Kong that you saw pictured. 2023, this year, was our very first store here in Korea. And we've actually opened our second store, which I think John actually mentioned, which is in the Hyundai. I'm going to be going to see that today. And then by 2024, by next year, we'll be opening our 2000th store. First of all, I want to talk about food. How many of you have ever been to Five Guys? Could I see a show of hands? So we've got quite a few. For those of you who haven't, I've got a little video to give you kind of a flavor of what it's all about. A lot of energy and a lot of great food. First of all, I want to start with the burgers. We have our own proprietary recipe for the buns. It's a very sort of simple recipe that's only flour, salt, sugar, yeast, and a bit of fat. They are slightly sweeter, so that they sort of marry very nicely with the umami and the salt that comes from some of the other things that are on the burger. They're baked fresh daily under contract by bakeries. The beef is a combination. It's an 80-20 mix of lean ground beef with fat, which actually causes the burgers to be very juicy. And then we cut all of the fresh produce that is sourced locally for the burgers. The fries are something that I really want to point out. It's something that I brought up with the other speakers last night. I have been exposed to potatoes from all over the world. Growing up in America, our potatoes come from Idaho, and I thought that those were pretty good. Moving to the Netherlands, I had no idea that there are so many different varieties of potatoes. We have, I think, 6 or 7 that you get in every grocery store. And potatoes are really difficult for us to source because we're looking for a specific type of potato that fries a certain way. If you see that our fries are a thick cut, the skin is left on, and we fry them twice. So the first fry is actually to cook the inside and start it cooking and steaming so that it gets kind of a mashed potato-y consistency. The second fry is to crisp up the outside and make it nice and firm. The Korean potatoes are the best potatoes I've ever tasted in my life. And my mouth is actually starting to water because just thinking that I'm going to be able to have them again this afternoon. If you don't do anything else, please come in and try our fries because they're absolutely amazing here in this country. I'd also be really interested to hear from any of you to see what you think once you've been in. Our milkshakes, I'll come on to some of the milkshake combinations. It's basically a vanilla ice cream base that you can mix in about 9 different toppings. On the left-hand side is the veggie burger. We have opted not to do a traditional veggie burger. We call this actually the veggie sandwich. It's a combination of all the different vegetables, which includes grilled onions, grilled mushrooms, and all the fresh toppings. This one actually has cheese in it, which holds everything together. The grilled cheese is also very special. It's basically an inverted hamburger bun. We put mayonnaise on the top, on either side, grill that, and that makes it kind of a croquant crust, extra cheese in the middle, and it's a delicious sandwich. You can also order that with patty in it. We call that a patty melt, or you can add bacon, which makes it even better. Bacon makes everything better, as does extra cheese, and I highly recommend it. The hot dogs, they're 100% beef hot dogs. We split them down the middle, butterfly them, make them, actually, by doing that, makes them sort of caramelized, a bit of a sweet, smoky taste. And then you can put whatever you want on it. And the other one is a lettuce wrap. It's what I normally opt for. It's also gluten-free, and I do it because I eat so many burgers that I've got to cut down somewhere. But I often put bacon and cheese on that as well. Peanuts. We're also known for our peanuts. The story behind the peanuts is we have an open-plan kitchen everywhere we are. And the boys, whenever they were starting, they didn't like people just standing there watching them cook. It normally takes between 6 and 8 minutes for our burgers to be fried, and so they wanted something that would distract people, and the peanuts have become sort of an intrinsic part of who we are. It was really funny when we opened Gangnam. In America, it's quite common for people to shell the peanuts and throw it on the floor, and I was observing some of the young ladies that were helping us at the front of house in Gangnam. So some Americans came in and started throwing things on the floor, and they didn't know what was happening. But we got cleaned up. Our crew is very important to us. We provide a lot of training. Basically, we want crew to take ownership for actually preparing, serving, and taking care of customers. Don't you love that? I mean, what is there not to love about that? There's so much excitement here, and we are extremely grateful for everything that has happened around the opening. One of the things that makes us unique, I believe, is our mystery shopping program. It's something that my team also looks after. We mystery shop every store twice a week. That's over 1,857 stores worldwide. We try to do a lunch shop and a dinner shop. We collect 2% of sales from every store, and we give back 1.5% of that in awards for this mystery shop. There's a chance, obviously, for 8 weekly awards throughout the month. And if the crews are able to maintain 98 or above, they get a high monthly average mega bonus at the end of the month. I did some calculations before I came, and at the end of the third quarter, we had given back over $40 million into the form of weekly bonuses to crew. And this is something which really sort of gets crews focused on the things that we want them to be focused on. The questionnaire, it measures 4 different things, 4 key different areas: customer service, food quality, store cleanliness, and customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction are the last 4 questions. They're very subjective, and there's a weighted scoring between what somebody would consider good and what somebody would consider great. And the purpose of that is because if you come in and you experience Five Guys and you think it's okay, you're not going to go away and talk about it. But if you come in and you have an absolutely amazing experience, you're going to go home and talk to your family and friends about it. And so the customer satisfaction scores are extremely important to us because that's an indicator of what's going to happen. The other thing that's unique about this program is that this all goes into a dashboard, and our ops, our training, my team is able to see what's happening anywhere in the world, sort of on a constant basis. So if a grill isn't working properly, or if a store is not being cleaned properly, then it allows us to take action immediately and try to rectify the situation. But the real purpose is that we get money back into the pockets of the people who are making this happen, which are our crew. And of course, that makes for happy crew. This next bit is really about you all, and what I want to do over the next couple of minutes is to actually share with you ways to get the most out of your visit when you come to Five Guys. It was something that I struggled with the first time that I went to Five Guys. But actually, first, I'm going to talk about a couple of things which are unique that we've been doing. We do some brand-generated marketing, and that is in the form of TikTok, and we also shoot some content for Facebook and for Instagram that we manage centrally. The other things I'm going to actually mention on the next slide. Our very first brand collaboration was with Samsung. I'm not sure if that team is here. I know we had people from Samsung yesterday, but we were very honored to be asked by Samsung to provide some branded items for their new flagship store, which is just down the road from ours in Gangnam. And we had a 3-month promotion, which I think is still going on. But we're very excited about that opportunity, and we'd like to do more of those things. Another thing which has happened more than once, but I've got a picture here of the Calvin Klein shoot. Calvin Klein reached out to us and said, can we do a photo shoot in your store in Milan? We have a beautiful store which is right next to the Duomo, if any of you are familiar with that. And we oftentimes get requests, particularly in Hong Kong, many times also in Italy and throughout other parts of Europe, to do photo shoots or to do movie shoots. I think it has something to do with the fact that our look is sort of like a 1950s diner, very American in nature. And so we're always happy to do those kinds of things. TikTok is something that we're starting to experiment with. I feel a little bit, and I said it also last night, a little bit intimidated because there's so much exciting things, sort of state-of-the-art things going on here in Korea, and we feel like we're just getting started. This, however, was a TikTok video that I was super proud of. The guy in it was an intern that was part of my team. This is shot in Antwerp in Belgium. One of the things that we find that consumers really respond to is when we educate them about how we do things at Five Guys. This is about how crispy we fry our bacon.
How we make sure our bacon is perfectly cooked. Let it fall. If it breaks, the bacon is perfectly crispy.
We got over 4 million views for that, which is unheard of for us. So, I mean, you're probably thinking, really? But we're super excited about that and super excited about where we can hopefully take the brand in the future. Another thing that we do that I really want to work with my Hanwha colleagues here is we provide a platform within all of our stores for what other people are saying about us. We like to think that we're very humble. We don't like to talk about ourselves publicly. But we do like it when other people talk about us. So when you come into one of our stores, you'll see a collection of articles and quotes. The articles are from magazine articles that have been written about us in various places around the world. Quotes are the same. And one of the things that we're starting to do is to, as we start to get more entrenched into local markets, is to add local language from local media quotes as they come in. One of the fun things that I was involved with was in Singapore. I think it was called Singapore Social. It was a Netflix series, and I had seen that series before I went to one of our openings there at Plaza Singapura, and we got one of the guys. He was so enthusiastic who was on there, and we've actually now have his quotes hanging up around the world. So, if there's anybody here in Korea who is interested in talking about us, we'd love to put you up on the wall. So, be sure and contact me. The other thing is we have bulletin boards in all of our stores. So, if you feel the need the next time you're in a Five Guys to share a comment, you can do that right away. Or if you have little children with you, they oftentimes like to color. This is just a smattering of different things that have popped up in terms of user-generated content. I follow all of our Instagram channels, and these were some of the ones that stuck out to me in terms of people really like to show their style, and they like to show their foods, which it was really exciting. I saw some of statistics yesterday in terms of food sharing. I think it was from Meta, and we get a lot of that. And we're as you can see, we're messy. We're not like a very stylized thing, but we think that this is the most delicious way of portraying ourselves. This is really our mantra when it comes to social media. We like to always entertain, to often educate, and never to sell. And this is what we share with all of our social media agencies around the world. So, customization. This is where you should really take notes, because I'm going to take you in the next couple of minutes that I have left through how to navigate our menu board. This is normally what you're faced with when you come into a Five Guys. I always thought that we had a very simple menu, but when you come in and you see this in front of you and you've got somebody standing in your face with a line out the door behind you, it can be quite daunting. So I wanted to help you out a little bit. First of all, a couple of things that I haven't mentioned yet is with our burgers. Our standard burgers, the hamburger, cheeseburger, bacon cheeseburger, they all have 2 patties. The reason for that is Jerry Morel always wanted to have this sense of offering the consumer more than what they were asking for. So those burgers are extremely big. I normally go for a little hamburger, or actually I go for the little bacon cheese. The little bacon cheese is 1 patty, and it's by no means little. It's certainly enough to feed a grown man. But the first thing that you should really do when you come in is decide what it is that you're going to try. Is it going to be a burger, a hot dog, or one of the sandwiches? We also have non-traditional things. We have a burger bowl. So if you don't want to have the bread, you can have the burger constructed inside of a bowl. And that's oftentimes a very popular thing. So you need to decide what it is from that you're going to do. The next thing is the toppings. You'll see here in black that we have something called all the way. All the way is often misconstrued as being kind of our signature burger, and it's not. I also don't recommend it. And the reason I don't recommend it is because grilled onions and grilled mushrooms have a lot of condensation. That means that they're wet. So if you put that together with 3 different sauces onto a burger, it can become very soggy. If you like it, you should go for it, but it's not really our best burger. So I'm going to come to how to construct your best burger in just a second. The next thing is the fries. Five Guys style is purely salted fries. It's one of my favorites. Cajun, if you're feeling for something a little bit spicier, I would opt for Cajun. What you can also do is ask for Cajun spice on the side. You can mix that into some mayonnaise, and then use that as a dipping sauce. That is really good, particularly with the Korean fries. So if you start to see a theme, I'm trying to bring in some creativity into the ordering process. Milkshakes. First of all, our fruit milkshakes are made every morning. So fresh banana and fresh strawberry are prepared. My favorite is peanut butter bacon. You might think bacon doesn't belong in a shake, but I can tell you, if you ever try it, you will absolutely adore it. The thing is, our vanilla-based milkshake is quite sweet. If you add some bacon and it mixes in, it makes it very small and crunchy and gives some saltiness to it. If you add peanut butter to that, it's absolutely delicious. I'm going to get in trouble for this, but if you also add chocolate and salted caramel into peanut butter and bacon, you have a liquid Snickers. I call that the Snickers milkshake. I was pushing it a little bit too much when we opened Gangnam, and I think we may have run out of bacon. But anyway, it's a really, really nice thing to try. In the UK, they sell something called the strawberry cheesecake. Basically, that's strawberry, lotus biscoff, so cookie crumble, and the vanilla base. You can also try something called a banoffee pie, which I think our DJ friend here might know from the UK. Basically, that is banana, salted caramel, and lotus biscoff. So you see, you start to build something really interesting, and you can try different things when you come in, depending on what it is that you're hungry for. This is something that I wanted to share with you from my Heinz days. There was an article that was written by an author named Malcolm Gladwell, and I believe it was for the New Yorker magazine. And it was basically an article that was surmising why the American ketchup market had not been taken over by somebody other than Heinz. They were looking at the mustard market. Grey Poupon came in with a French Dijon-style mustard and took over French's, which was an English-based sort of yellow mustard. And they said, why hasn't anybody been able to challenge Heinz? And basically what they came up with is that Heinz is actually the perfect food. It's the perfect sauce. The reason is because it's reached the perfect amplitude or blending of the 5 different taste senses. So salty, sweet, sour, umami, and bitter. And the way that they were able to mix that tricks the human physiology into thinking that it's perfect food. Young kids are oftentimes not given salt and pepper to put on their food, but they are given ketchup. And so you'll see little kids putting tons of ketchup onto broccoli. I had a cousin who ate nothing but rice with ketchup on it. But if you actually apply this to our menu, you come up with really interesting combinations. And that was basically where I wanted to end on, which is some different interesting combinations that try to hit on all of those taste sensors. The bacon cheeseburger with lettuce, grilled onions, grilled mushrooms, and grilled peppers is one of my favorites. It hits all of those. There's sweetness, there's umami, there's bitter. The patty melt is something that I've already mentioned. It's a grilled cheese with a patty in it. Really good if you add bacon. I would also add grilled jalapenos, which add a little bit of spice, but it's softened because it's been grilled, and barbecue sauce. That adds the sour. Always be thinking about, do I have sour, do I have sweet, do I have umami, etc. Hot dog, the one that's up there is not my favorite. My favorite is more of a classic American hot dog, which would be with mustard, ketchup, fresh onion, and of course, some bacon and cheese too. The milkshake I've already talked about, peanut butter bacon, and then the lettuce wrap. We must be doing something right, and I wanted to talk about a couple of the people that you see behind me. I was not aware of who Karina Lau is. Do you all know Karina Lau? She's basically, as it was explained to me, the Meryl Streep of China. She's a very popular, very elegant woman. She came into our store in Wan Chai, the one that was pictured at the very beginning, and I've actually got my Strasburger here, I didn't say that. She came in, she sat down, she was kind of disguised, and she took her burger with her phone and she bit into it, and she was basically ecstatic about it. She was like, this is the best burger I've ever eaten in my life. And we could not believe our eyes. There's no way that we as a brand could have paid for that and that exposure to that market. So we were super, super grateful for that and happy. You may have heard that we're also former President Barack Obama's favorite burger. Before COVID, and during the time that he was president, we didn't offer delivery. We got a phone call at one of our stores that was close to the White House, from the White House, and they said, can you deliver 20 burgers to the White House? And we said, sorry, we don't do delivery. Lo and behold, President Obama arrives in the Beast, which is his armored limo with Secret Service detail. He comes in and he places the order himself. We obviously captured that, but it wasn't staged by us. And to this day, people will come in and order what they call the presidential. A lot of people think that we have a secret menu. It's simply from these kinds of stories. And I could say something, if you Google it, you'll see what he actually ordered. But people do still order that. This guy, I didn't have enough time to actually add a video from him, but if you Google him, he's absolutely amazing. He comes in and he takes 3 burger bowls. One he has meat and cheese in, usually about 3 patties with cheese between them. The second one is grilled mushrooms and grilled onions. And the third one is empty, but he dumps his fries, his Cajun fries, into that. He then starts to construct sort of a lasagna out of those 3 different combinations. Pours ketchup on top, balancing with the sweetness and the sourness. And then he tucks into it. And he's an absolutely amazing lover of Five Guys. And if you see his enthusiasm, it's infectious. And then I wanted to end on one of my favorite people. I don't know if you all know this lady, Too Young. She was an absolute trooper. She came in and basically ordered the menu. This young lady is very thin. She's tiny. She ate the entire menu, and we captured some of it on video.
Here's you can eat a lot of burger. Burger 2, burger 3, 4. 20.
안녕하세요 여러분. 제가 오늘은 지금 여기 어디를 왔냐면요. 하나예요. 제가 완전 완벽하게 원하는 감자튀김이에요.
고맙습니다. 안녕히 가십시오.
그러면 계속 있어도 돼요? 5분 마무리 5분. 네, 알겠습니다. 지금
We've got to see if we can get a quote of her up, but she was absolutely adorable, and we were very happy that she came and visited us. So just to summarize, what we do at Five Guys is we focus on our food first and foremost, and on our crew. If we get those two things right, then the rest falls into place. We like to surprise and delight you. We want to give you the highest quality food that we can. We want to give you more quantity than what you ask for, in the hopes that you have a really great experience when you come to see us. The fact that we don't actually pay for advertising gives us authenticity in spades. It was something with my Heineken experience and my Heinz experience that it seems like we were always chasing. How do you become an authentic brand for somebody? But when you're not paying for it and you just are who you are, it comes very easily. And then finally, customization is a really big thing. It's not something that you find at our competitors. They often have pre-made sauces. It makes it a little bit more work for you, but hopefully it gives you a better experience at the end of the day. So I'm looking forward to see what your next order will be when you come to see us. And don't forget, you must come in to try the fries. They're absolutely amazing. Thank you very much.